Welcome back to another Switch Sports Golf video. This is round 2 of week 2 of the Shotgun Pro League. I'm joined by 7 other golfers today, the same players as in last round. Now, to make sure I don't spoil anything that happened during round 1, make sure to go back and watch how we got on if you haven't already. As we move on to hole 1, we've got the back right pin. 2 miles an hour wind today.
Nice shot.
It's only level 1, which will mean that that's slightly better than the higher amounts of wind we had yesterday. And we'll have 109 yards to go. Zero wind strategy for this pin is to go just slightly left and almost full power on the 9-iron. We've got diagonal tailwind, so makes the adjustment just a tad harder. We'll go for about 3.8 on the 9-iron.
Nice shot.
And we'll send it up there. Takes a good first bounce, rolls up, and just slips out on the left side.
Nice approach.
So hole 1, and we're already getting really close. As we see a nice shot there. A beautiful chip in from Beef. He's off to a great start. There was another chip in there from Dylan. Great shot. That means Beef and Dylan will push to 2 under everybody else. And birdie that hole. Hole 2. Looks like the middle left pin. This is the pin on hole 2 that you'll get in the local mode. So, one that I'm fairly familiar with. Zero wind strategy is to go 1 square to the left. And with this 2 miles an hour wind, I'll adjust just slightly more to the left to account for that. We'll send about 3 1/4 dots of power. We're wanting to bounce this just left of the hole. We do that. Well, this looks really good. And there we go. A hole in 1 on hole 2 to kick this round off. See a couple of lip outs there. And Beef and Dylan will make the hole in 1 as well. So that'll be 4 under for the 2 of them. And I'll be just 1 shot back at 3 under. Let's move on to hole 3. Looks like... Wait a minute. Is this exactly the same condition? This is exactly the same condition as it was last round. As we did last round, we want to send about a full power driver just over that left part of the tree, which will do nicely. Wanted to end up just on the left part of this fairway. And let's see, we've got 259 yards left. If you haven't seen the strategy that I used in round 1 of this week, we want to aim just left of the flag, and we'll want to use some slight curve to bend it around this right tree. And the hope is that we end up on the green for a nice tap-in eagle. Taking a few practice swings just to make sure that we can get the correct amount of curve.
Nice shot.
And we unfortunately get just a little bit, but that's not going to be enough. And we end up clipping the bunker. As we see a nice eagle from Grimbler, he ended up with a brilliant shot. So we'll have a much trickier chip from the bunker. As we see a chip from my captain Aiden, he'll just miss it on the left side. See a nice tap in from Bolt. And another one, wow. Nice chip in there from L70. Beef with an unfortunate miss. Let's see what we can do with our shot. So we'll need probably just under pin high power. My plan with this one was to bounce it and roll it up. We'll get the bounce and we'll stop dead.
Chip in.
We'll stop dead right on the right hand side of the cup. And we'll sink the eagle. Let's see this replay. So we bounce just before the hole. And it stops. And luckily, we don't lip out. Hole 3 being one of my favourites. And we delivered. So we'll join Beef and Dylan at 5 under through 3. So we're already off to great pace. Now because this is round 4, we've already submitted 3 scores. And the way that the Shotgun Pro League works is we'll play 8 rounds in total. And our best 3 scores will count towards our overall team score. So far I've had a 22 and 2 23s.
Nice
So if
shot.
I can get better than a 22 under, I'll improve my own score. Just unfortunately missed on the left edge of the hole. We see a pin smack from Hunter. Really close approach. Another 2 mile an hour hole will mean that we'll see tons of close approaches. Except for Beef. Of course, Beef will sink the hole in one. That's a lovely approach. Another one
Nice birdie.
just missing, exactly the same shot as me. That one was from Dylan. So Beef will push to 7 under after 4. I'm just 1 shot back at 6 under. Got to make sure we're looking out for my teammate Aiden. His scores will also count towards the Tree Meisters. He's on a comfortable 4 under. And this hole 5 is a great opportunity. 22 miles an hour of diagonal tailwind will allow us to hopefully reach the green in 2. We just have to make sure that we adjust enough on the left so that we just sneak it by the tree, and then we'll be left
Nice shot.
with a nice drive onto the green. We see we just get past the tree on the skin of our teeth. Let's see if we hold the fairway. We do. So a textbook drive, just holding the fairway. And that'll mean, as you can see, 22 miles an hour of tailwind. We'll be able to send this up onto the green in 2. There is a little bit of left to right wind, which I'm currently just adjusting for. As we see Aiden with a nice eagle. That's brilliant.
Nice
So
shot.
he'll push to 6 under after 5. I do take a little bit off of this drive because I don't want to end up with a terrible putt. See a nice eagle there from Beef. It looks like this leave is very favourable. See another few eagles be tapped in there. Let's see if I can adjust this. I want to end up aiming about the right edge of the cup, I think. And we'll need to add plenty of power. We don't want to miss this short. Lovely. We'll sink down on the left edge. That'll be eagles for 6 of our 8 players, including myself and Aiden. I'll push to 8 under after 5. So that now means we're 3 better than birdie golf, or in a standard 18 holes, if we were to do every single hole as expected, we're on for a 24 under. Got a pretty difficult hole 6, 20 miles an hour of diagonal tailwind, and I want to use the spoon because it's quite difficult wind I'm
Nice
hoping
shot.
that we can end up on the right-hand side of the fairway. Oh, and this looks like trouble. I want to be where those 5 players are currently sitting. 156 yards. And you'll see we've got this big tree in the way. Wouldn't normally be an issue, but because we have wind pushing from left to right, I'm going to have to think about doing something I've not done in a while, which is some curve with backspin. If I were to decide not to use backspin, I might end up clipping the tree, or even worse, just end up completely missing the green on the right hand side and end up on the rough. So let's see what we can do. I want a nearly full 7-iron. We'll curve it way left. The wind will push it right. And how have I managed to keep that on the green?
Nice on.
See a beautiful chip in from Hunter. He'll get a nice eagle. Now I've got this left to right putt. I need about 1.5 dots of power to ensure that this has a chance of making the birdie. We'll send that up there and we'll sink it right in the middle. So a really scary second shot, handled with precision, and we'll make the birdie. Hunter with a nice eagle will push up to 9 under after 6. And you can really see how amazing these players are. The fact that we've got 4 players that are 9 under after 6. These are going to be some brilliant scores coming through. Hole 7, we've got maximum crosswind. 2 different options. We can either use the layup, which is what I choose to go for, or another strategy which I've not used too often, which is why I tend not to go for it in these more competitive rounds of golf, which is to go full power and aim to end up further down into the rough with an easier second shot onto the green. We'll end up nicely on the fairway, and I'm thinking about how I want to adjust for this. For hole 7, because the green is on a down slope, we'll need to have slightly more power than you might first imagine. And I'm thinking if I use the 3-iron and I go for about 3.2, that is 100% clipping the tree. So I'm going to go for a more full 5-iron. We'll go for a 5-iron as opposed to a 3-iron. There'll be a higher trajectory, and hopefully we'll be able to clear this big tree on the right hand side.
Nice shot.
And we're going for about 3.8. We just clear it, take a bounce on the fairway, and we stop very close to the hole.
Nice on.
A maximum crosswind hole. I'm very happy with what looks to be a tap-in birdie. We'll give this a zoom. And we'll just make sure that we're aligning the ball just in case we get that micro putt. And we'll tap it there and just sneak it in on the right edge. Sometimes those putts can be really stressful because that micro putt glitch can happen when you least expect it. And since we're on the best pace we've had in this stage, I want to make sure it stays that way. Let's see what we've got for hole 8. We've got the back left pin with only 11 miles an hour wind. Hole 8, you can have anywhere from 0 to level 15 wind. And we've only got level 5. So I'd say that it's much better than what it could have been. Twin between using the 3-iron with a bit of spin, or the spoon. 3-iron with spin will give a more consistent approach. We see a beautiful hole-in-one from Bolt. Fantastic shot from him. As we send about 3 dots on the 3-iron. We see Aiden smack the pin.
Nice approach.
And I'll end up just on the left side. Comfortably 1.4 meters. Once again, hole 8 has a really difficult green. So to just be this close with a tap-in birdie, I'm more than happy with that. So that'll be birdies for 7 of us, and of course Bolt with that amazing hole-in-one. That'll push him to 10 under after 8. Let's see what we get for hole 9. 17 miles an hour wind. It's bang on average. And it's pushing from left to right. There is a slight bit of headwind, which means we won't be able to go for the green in 2. But that's okay. You can see that the pin position is just as it is on local mode. It's that back left pin. A position that can really catch you out. If you go for any spin strategy, you can end up way too far or too low down the green. You'll end up with a tricky putt, which could end up with a par. Since I'm on pace for a good round, rather than attacking the flag and risking a par, or even worse, a bogey, I'm going to opt to go for the left-hand side of this green. Might have been able to see there on the terrain map, anywhere to the right of this flag is trouble. You've got a massive hill that you'll have to try and putt up and have it curve back down. But on the left-hand side, it's way more doable. So I'm going to adjust a bit more to the left than I would usually do. As for power, probably about 0.1 under pin high. And you'll see we take a bounce and end up in a comfortable place.
Nice on.
The putt isn't as intuitive as I would have liked. Still got some left to right to deal with. But as you can see, there's a better close-up. If we ended up anywhere on that right-hand side, we've got that huge hill to deal with. So we'll need about a 1 dot power, and we'll sink it.
Nice birdie.
And that'll be birdies all around. Always great to see birdies on hole 9 with that back pin position. And we'll be 12 under after 9, which is a great start. Let's see if we can continue that on to the back 9. We've got the front left pin for hole 10. Once again, 2 miles an hour wind.
Nice shot.
This is a pin position that I'm not particularly good at. I tend to go for the glide spin strategy as opposed to the roll up. Because I remember one time I was using the roll up and I hit the fringe first, ended up launching all the way to the end of the green, and ended up with a par. So this way, if I send the ball up with about pin high power with some spin, I'll end up pretty close with a chance at an eagle. Let's have a look. Take a bounce and okay, we slap the pin dead center.
Nice on.
See a nice chip in from Hunter as I'm discussing my shot. But yeah, if that was just a tad more to the left, we could have maybe snuck that by, ripped it back for the eagle.
Nice birdie.
But I'm quite content with a tap-in birdie. So Hunter will push to 14 under after 10. I'll be 1 shot back at 13 under. We've got hole 11. Doesn't look like zero wind. How much wind? It's 2 miles an hour again. So for this middle right pin, you want to aim to bounce just to the left and have it curl back. And I want to go for the 3-iron. Now the reason I go for the 3-iron is because we'll give just slightly less spin. See a favourable bounce. This looks really good. And yes! Hole in one. Hole 11. This is just brilliant. We've now made 4 makes. That puts us on pace for a 25 under, which is 3 shots better than what our previous 22 under was. We see a nice hole in one from Dylan as well. He'll join myself and Hunter for first place. Let's see what we got for hole 12. 2 miles an hour again. So unfortunately we couldn't get any zero wind holes. But holes 10, 11 and 12, all with level 1 wind. I can guarantee you, if they were zero wind holes, our players would be pushing for an even lower score. We'll give this one a zoom as we think about how we want to attack this back right pin. The standard for a zero wind is about 1.8 squares to the left. So I'll go for about a half square to the right. For the power we'll go about 3.1. We see a lovely chip in from Aiden, my teammate. He'll get an albatross. We'll just sneak it by. If we hold that albatross, this would have been a brilliant round. We see a really close approach from Beef. And we see, oh, that looks good. Nice albatross from Dylan. So that'll be eagles for 6 of us. Dylan and Aiden with the albatross. That's great for the Tree Meisters. Aiden will now be at 15 under. And myself at 17. Let's see what we've got for hole 13. I do enjoy this pin position, but I do not enjoy this 17 miles an hour wind. Normally I like to go for about 1 square of adjustment per level of wind. 17 miles an hour is level 8. So we'll go for about 8 squares. It's just that slight bit of headwind, so we'll add a smidge more power. And we'll see where we end up. Take a good first bounce. And we'll just be a little bit too far on the right hand side.
Nice approach.
So another close approach. We see, wow. Another really, really close approach. I'd like to see everybody tap in the birdie.
Nice birdie.
That'll be birdies all around for our 8 players. Unfortunately, we couldn't see any hole-in-ones, but no pars as well. So our group is keeping consistent. Let's see what we have for hole 14. We've got 9 miles an hour of crosswind, going from right to left. Now, if you remember, when we had left to right crosswind in our previous round, I didn't opt to use the shortcut. But if we were to use the same strategy for this wind, we'd be left with a headwind. And that's not ideal. So I think, you know what? Let's go for it. And we just sneak it through. We thread the needle. And we're looking good. 9 miles an hour of headwind. Slight right to left, so I will adjust to account for that. The mist that you would rather have is on the right side, because then you've got no trouble with any hills. But I'm hungry for the albatross, so I'm going for this. 3.6. We'll send it up. Bounce just a bit too far on the left.
Nice on.
And we've got a very close approach once again. Need about half power. And oh, come on. The micropot gods have not been good to us on this one. You could see when I was doing my practice swing, I wanted a little bit more power. And it's just one of those glitches in this game that I wish didn't exist. You could tell that we'd done the adjustment, we'd done the power, and then the game thinks that it's helping you by correcting the power, when in actual fact, it's just cost us an entire shot. So we now go from 25 under pace to 24.
Nice shot.
Still, we'll beat our lowest score of 22 under if we keep this up. So an unfortunate micro putt. We'll try not to let it get into our head. We've got another 2 miles an hour of wind right here. I think as I'm recording this, over these 4 rounds, we are yet to get a single 0 wind hole. So we send about 2.5 on the 3 iron. Takes a good bounce. And we just miss it on the left side.
Nice approach.
You see someone there with a nice chip in. And that was from Bolt. So greatly handled shot from Bolt. He'll sink the eagle. And it'll be just Bolt with the eagle. So he'll push up to 20 under. He'll join myself and Beef in 3rd place. Let's see what we've got for hole 16. Can we take the shortcut? We've got 11 miles an hour wind, but I've got an unfortunate tee position, which means I'm not going to be able to go for the shortcut unless I use some sort of curve. If I try and curve it, I could end up in the out of bounds, and that takes 2 shots off. And I'll just completely kill the round. So in the interest of preserving our 24 under pace, I'm going to opt to go for the left-hand side. Don't think I've handled that very well though. I'll have a look. See a nice chip in from Beef. I must have had an advantageous pin position as he sinks the eagle. When I was in the game, I was originally thinking that this tree on the left would obstruct our shot. So I'm trying again to use the curve.
Nice shot.
I don't get as much curve as I was hoping for. And we get a glide spin, which is not ideal. This is another tricky putt, which if we miss, would have gone from a 25 to a 23. So we've got to lock in. I do spend an extra bit of time on this just to make sure I've got the adjustment right. Send about 1.5, and we just sneak it in the left edge. That feels really good. We had a nerve-wracking second shot, and we can see that was a really tough condition. We saw 3 different players in the out of bounds. That means that their round is completely over. And wait, hang on. So Zero Wind does exist. And it's arguably the worst time it could have come about. We've got a par 3 that we can't hole in one, as you'll see. Full power on the driver, aimed directly at the pin. We'll take one bounce. We're not even going to make it down there. I shouldn't complain though. Hole 17 being my least favourite. We'll have a pretty straightforward tap in. So long as we don't micropod again. And we won't.
Nice birdie.
So that will push us to 22 under after 17 holes. We're in exactly the same position as we were last round, which means we can get an eagle, on this last hole. We'll get a 24. And another headwind. This headwind, I believe it is possible to sneak it onto that left island. But once again, if I get just the power wrong, I can end up in the water, and that's the round over. So I want to cut it as close to the edge of the fairway as possible.
Nice shot.
I end up with just under full power, which if I tried to go to the left island, that would have been the round over completely. So in hindsight, this had to be the way I attacked this. So, we've got the front left pin, which means that we should be able to use the full spoon. Once again, I'm just making sure that I get the right adjustment. If we were to miss, we'd rather miss to the right, because at least we'll hold the green. And we'll be left with a nice putt. So we'll send full power spoon up there. You can see I adjust just a little bit more to the right, just to be safe. And let's see where this ends up.
Nice shot.
So it's coming in, clips the rough, which will mean that we do get a launch. I think had that have hit the fairway and launched, it would have been in a bit of trouble. It's not a straight putt. It's always really tricky when you have this part of the green to putt through. The ball will start by moving from right to left as it gets up this hill, and then go even further from right to left as we approach the hole. I want to give it about 2.5, just that it guarantees that we have a chance. Send it up, and phew, we sink the eagle. So that's an amazing 24 under for round 4, which will improve our 22 under score, which means next week we'll have to try to shoot better than a 23 to improve our overall score. There's still 2 weeks to go, so plenty of golf, so I'm excited to see if we can push our scores even lower. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Switch Sports action.